All right, I think I actually did it right for once. Unbelievable. Actually, let's verify that. Let's get to this page, pop out the chat. Yeehaw. All right, so we're here on spaghettymodels.com and or Mike's weather page. Great guy, works very hard, providing us with all these awesome tools we get to use to analyze, predict, talk about weather, you name it. We got buoys out here. In fact, this is we're going to jump around a little bit on this live stream. It's not going to be too long, only because we've had such a long day. Caroline and I, we got some crazy news this morning about our previous apartment that a lot of you know about. We've posted many videos from there. You've seen parts of this apartment, and by the way, no buoys going off after this 6.3 Izu Islands, Japan region earthquake we had. Set off no tsunami buoys, but that was the biggest quake in the last 24 hours. Second to Taiwan, 5.6. We had a 5.2 in the Fiji region, as you can see down here. This area has been getting lit up lately. Lots of talk about New Zealand. I'm not going to stop saying it, guys. New Zealand is in for something, and I'm not quite sure what it is yet. And then we move into our fours and down. I guess these we can talk about another time, but I like to point out at least the sixes and fives on a daily basis if possible. Really quick, let's make sure I have some audio here. Am I being heard? Are we seeing earthquake charts? Let's get some yeses or nos if you don't mind. Norway, what's up, buddy? Solvis, man, I always catch you when you're like doing something busy or I feel so bad. We got to get a schedule together for you. Thank you guys for the confirmation on audio. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so like I said, this isn't going to be anything long. I guess let's get the bad news out of the the way first. Our apartment that Caroline and I lived in not 8 months ago no longer exists. There was a fire last night. If you look at this ladder truck, this is our porch. I don't know if you guys remember, we had Christmas lights on this porch. This fire happened last night at 1:47 a.m. It took out 40 buildings within this complex. Now, I can't play the full news article, but this is a drone shot of the top of our building. This is where we used to live. We do not live there now. We are safe. We are in northeast Pennsylvania. This is southeast. This is near Glenmore, PA, Westchester County, that type of area. But you see this white peak right here? This is exactly where our apartment is. Our entire roof is gone. This wall you see right here is the back wall to our living room. When we saw this, we could not believe what we were seeing. It took out every single apartment on the top floor and some damage to the second floor. This is a 4-story building. You could see over here in this area 1, 2, 3, 4 stories and a basement. So these are fairly big buildings. Funny part is this is building 600. This is where we lived. This building and I believe building 500 were just recently built and finished. Now, without getting too much into it because it's an ongoing investigation, I had to walk around this building and actually film the conditions. So, how you doing, Mass Destruction? Glad to see you and everyone else I've missed so far. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Cause is still under investigation, which means possible arson, possible this, possible that. I don't know yet. But the funny part about this is the day we left, we were having some issues with these people as far as our security deposit. Our place was immaculate. Like, you can talk to Caroline. We're both very clean people. We like having clean air, like clean areas. Our apartment was immaculate. We went through, yeah, talk about dodging a bullet is right. This is insane. Like, my brother's a fireman. My dad's a retired fireman. I mean, when they saw this, everyone was in shock, especially Caroline. She spent 3 years of her life in this apartment, and I just can't imagine. Like, she's so upset about it. It was her first home, like on her own, and to see it like this, it's just, it's incredible. This is it right here. This is our apartment. There's one that was to our right, and then a couple down to our left. But this peak right here is the beginning of our area. So right there are some other shots within this video. In fact, right here, you can see this ladder is going right up. This is our porch. Right here is our porch. They're thinking, or at least I'm thinking, based on a little bit of knowledge I have of this building, the fire started here. And you could see how it came out this window, and the winds at the time were blowing this way. That's what ended up causing the fire in our apartment and started coming out of this vent here. And yes, guys, I know this isn't weather related. It's a fire, but I mean, there was wind involved, so you can consider it weather. But definitely something I'm sharing with the community. I mean, this is what we do. We're all friends here. But just check out this scene here. This was my parking spot. This is where I parked my truck. This is where Caroline parked her car. This was our home. And just seeing it like this, it's just, I can't get over it. You could see they have a step ladder going right up to our porch. Not this porch over here, not this porch, not this one, not this one. But the ladder truck is right there. The ladder going up to our porch is right there. So we're assuming they had to use our old apartment, which I think was vacant at the time. We moved out 8 months ago. We don't know if somebody was living in there. By the looks of like the drone shots from above, it looked pretty bare and empty inside, so I'm not sure if somebody was in there. They're reporting no injuries as of now. They're still investigating the fire, so I can't really talk about like the stuff I have filmed. Like I went around the apartment and filmed all fire hazards before I left because I knew they were going to take our security deposit. And I just wanted some proof to show that the conditions of the building were horrible, even though it's considered a newer part of the building. So that's the news we got this morning. That's what we woke up to. A couple friends of ours, or Caroline's, contacted us early this morning. I didn't hear about it till late in the afternoon because, you know, my hours are different than hers right now. But, man, this was something else. And all the, like, I don't want to show these people's faces. I mean, they were on the news, so it's public information. Here's another angle. This is our apartment right here. You see this peak? These were the parking spots I was showing you before. Guys, this is our living room. This is where our couch was. We had our TV right here. This was our spot, our bedroom right here, right where this collapsed. This is our bedroom right here. And you could see these are the hallways. These were open air hallways. So there was no close. The wind would blow right in. It's like this place was built to be in a southern state. It was very cold in the winter. We had issues with them, you know, throughout the winter with snow cleaning and stuff. But you can see it's open hallways. Like besides the roof missing here, these are open windows where wind comes through. So it's very cold in these hallways. You can see the insulation has melted over the walls. One of these is a storage room, and then right here is the apartment we used to live in. Oh, man, it's just, I could repeat this all night. I'm not going to. We're going to get into some weather, but oh, my goodness. I could not believe it when she first told me. I was half asleep, and it was just, you know, something you don't want to wake up. Norway tracking. NL1 die out. Yeah, it kind of died out. Now let's get to some weather now that I got this out of the way. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I am going to have an updated video about this situation when the time comes because there's a lot more than meets the eye when it comes to this fire. And although that's my opinion right now, it may not be an opinion for much longer. So, like I said, just wanted to bring up some of these pictures to you guys and just show you. This is the apartment right next to us, and these were the investigators. So this is what led me to believe that this fire came out of this door. You can clearly see the burn here, and we always had wind issues. The wind would come from this way, and right here is our porch where you saw those ladders. Right here. So it's this porch, and then to the right is this right here. And this is where all these people were focusing their attention, were our neighbors. Well, neighbor. And we're not going to get into that either because we had issues with them as well. But with that said, yep, that was one of our experiences for today. Let me read some of what's going on here. But yeah, thank you all, guys, who are saying good luck we got out of there. Yes, very much so. We would have lost everything. I mean, Caroline's got stuff in there that her grandmother gave her that we would have never, ever gotten out of that place in time. And it's the entire top 40 built apartments that are totally destroyed. The bottom ones are destroyed due to the flooding because of the water. I do too. There's over 70 people right now relying on Red Cross just for a place to live as we speak tonight. This happened, like I said, early this morning, and oof, not bad. It was a fire, JJ Grace. A fire broke out in our old apartment in Southeast PA near Philadelphia, where we used to post all our videos from. You can go back 8 months, and every video from 8 months back is filmed right, not in this room, but the one I showed you before. Yes, thank you. We are very safe. Hello, True Helper. How are you? Healing energy sent their way. Yes, we've been calling everyone we know from that area. In fact, every single person interviewed on the local news station there, we knew by face. It's a very close community. The fire marshal lived in this complex. It was just unbelievable. And now to the weather. Back to you there. Yes, we're getting the weather right now. But anyway, want to share that. You will be hearing about this more and more as I get more information. But I mean, just picture this being where you used to live. I mean, you'd be all over this too. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And yes, I appreciate the positive messages. Not looking for any sort of sympathy. We were not there, but it's definitely an experience to share with people. So let's see what we got. Hello, everyone. Much love and respect, my friends. We are glad we made it out. Okay, Brian Caroline. Yes, thank you, True Helper, very much. In fact, the prayers should be going to the people that have no home right now. And I just, like, people that we, like, befriended, like, that we're friends with, we've been in touch with, just a very rough situation for them right now. So I will follow up on that, and I'll let you guys know what's going on. We talked about these earthquakes. Biggest of the day, like I said, 6.3 in the Ring of Fire. Surprise, surprise. We had a couple shakers in North and South California today. Down in Mexico, we had a decent 4.5. It was fairly deep, okay, but we've been seeing a lot of action here. And if you notice, I don't know if I can really change this on this app. This app I have on my tablet allows me to get into another version of earthquake reading. And when you click on it, it shows you earthquakes that are not showing up on the GFS. And there are 4s and 5s completely lining Central America right now. And they're not showing one except for this one right here. And I don't know why. So when you go to the USGS, they have one set of data. And then the other set of data has about 50 to 60 earthquakes running from about this area where we had the 8.0 just about a week and a half ago, running all the way up through Central America into Mexico, nothing below a 4.5. And it doesn't make sense to me why the USGS won't report these. I'm not arguing the fact that they haven't reported them. We can kind of mess with this and see if this changes anything. Over the last 7 days, you could see some of the more significant quakes. We had a 6.6 in El Salvador. I did not get a chance to report on this. This was one of my days off, but I should have been here to report it. Had a tsunami warning with it, since canceled. But we're starting to see Central America and this part of Peru and then Chile lighting up. And it is part of the Ring of Fire. And when you look at 7-day 4.5 magnitudes and you kind of look at this area, you could see the missing pieces again. Again, it's Alaska and it's the west coast of the U.S. Now, when you go to 1-day all magnitudes, that's when you start seeing California and the west coast of the U.S. and Alaska. So unless we're pushing a 4.0 or higher, there's nothing going on the west coast of the U.S. or Alaska. Okay, so that leads me to believe that there's pressure building up. Pressure is going to be transferred. It could go this way. We've seen this happen before by the scorpion tail, and that could be why we saw this Japan earthquake. It very well could be. All this missed pressure here, not a lot of volcanoes here unless you get into the water, so on and so forth. Now, on to the weather, as I said. So, let me just catch up with some of you guys here. Norway track, and this should be in inactive June for the Atlantic. You know what? I'm starting to agree with that. I did look into that. There is one system that's going to be rolling up the East Coast. In fact, let's get to that now. We're done with the buoys. None of them were set off. This is what we've been looking at. So we went from a 60% chance of cyclone formation, which the conditions were there. And now, yes, Norway tracking, you are right. It's down to 0% chance, but that does not mean that this is nothing. Now, I want to prove that to you, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. We still have Invest 91L marked, okay? We're at 1,008 millibars, 1,009 millibars, but the chances of this thing becoming any sort of cyclone or tropical situation have lowered dramatically based on the fact that it's interacting with land now. So that is what we have to go by. Now, before I get you to Vent2 Sky, just to show you guys that there's not nothing there, when I back this up here, you can clearly see that this thing was prepared to turn into a cyclone. Now, as I move forward, remember, this is about an 18-hour span up until current time. Current time will be frame 200 right here. No need for me to scroll up here because we're kind of focusing on this area right here. But you're going to see a deep, dark color come up. And when you see those, that's when you know storms are connecting and they're getting very strong. And during this time period, we were still wondering whether or not this thing was going to turn into a tropical depression and then in turn a tropical storm, possibly being Category 1. It is early. Norway tracking was on top of this. A lot of people were. We didn't know exactly what was going to go on. But what we can say now, as you can see as I'm moving forward, we do have those dark spots. There's going to be some significant rain along the coast of Texas. They don't need it. They're already flooded out. Houston's going to get some of this. But guys, the Gulf itself, it's just the warmth of the Gulf and the upflow that is allowing these storms that are coming from Central and South America. They're moving up and they're starting to get very strong in the Gulf. So it's just a matter of time before we get an invest and then a tropical depression. That is going to be the next step. So the steps go like this: invest, tropical depression, tropical storm, Category 1, Category 1 through Category 5. That's how it works. So once you see a tropical depression, shortly then after, we're going to see a name. So right now, Barry has not been named. So we still have Barry out there. Who knows? Something crazy might happen, and we might see this, start churning up, and it might become a tropical depression. We may get that letter B. Chances are not, because as we move towards frame 200 now, you could start to see this moisture is pulling away from that part of Texas, that south part of Texas, and now focusing on Louisiana. So Louisiana, as of right now, is just getting the front end of this moisture that's coming up. Now, again, I'm going to repeat this. We have a west to east trade wind that always comes this way, and then we have the upflow that comes up from the Gulf. So this is going to be pushed into Louisiana. They don't need this. Mississippi doesn't need this. Alabama doesn't need it. The Panhandle doesn't need it. Nobody needs more moisture right now after the ridiculous couple weeks we've had with these tornadoes, the Mississippi River levee breaches, the Great Lakes issues, all this stuff. So regardless of whether or not this became a cyclone or not, it doesn't mean it's not something that needs to be talked about and explained to people in ways where they understand that flash flooding, as you can see here on Radar Scope, I'm going to do my little promo here, guys. Sorry, but I got to do it. Radar Scope, you can buy $29 on your app store. It's a safe app. You can get it on Android, iPhone, your iPad for $9. You get your basic necessities for weather watching, but it's an amazing tool, and it allowed me to help you guys. And then even some of the comments I've been getting said that they bought the app and they're very grateful they have it now. It's an awesome source to look at and to get good information from. As you can see, we do have some spotty, severe thunderstorms. Nothing crazy going on in the country right now, which is good. We need the break. We need the mental break. We need the physical break. We need some sun. We just need to get our bearings back because it's been a crazy couple days. Me, myself, I can even admit I was getting so tired doing these reports day after day, 5-hour live streams, 4-hour live streams, 3-hour live streams. I could have been messing up. I got to watch that stuff if I'm going to be here for you guys to be accurate with information. Everybody needs rest. So I took the last day or two to take that rest, and now we're back. Again, not much to talk about as far as the U.S., as far as severe weather right now. But what I want you to understand as far as other things going on, and we're going back to the sun now, guys. If you remember, we had a couple sunspots that were going on. Let me make sure the chat is still with me here and understanding where we're going. We're jumping around a lot, I know, and I apologize. Tanis Olson, great to see you. True Helper, always great to see you. You know that. True Helper, yes, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I am getting heavy rain tomorrow in Michigan. Yes, that's true. Michigan is expected to get rain. The only reason that it's not showing on radar scope now is because it hasn't made it there yet. And I'm assuming we got this flash flooding up in Minnesota. We got a severe storm in Minnesota. We got some severe stuff going on near Nebraska and Kansas. And then in Texas, we got some spots. But you got to understand the jet stream is coming in this direction. So, yes, Michigan, you might be seeing some stuff tomorrow. And I will get on top of that tomorrow. So tomorrow will be another good live stream. I'll give you guys a little more warning ahead of time to set up, get some more people in here, and we'll start talking about stuff. But with that said, this is weather related. Here is a look at our SDO cams. Now, these cameras are given to us by a satellite that is in between the Earth and the Sun. So this satellite orbits, yes, it orbits with the Sun, but it won't orbit with the Earth. So it's constantly facing the Sun. And when you hit the 48-hour video, you could see it films 48 hours of the Sun spinning. Now, if you guys remember when we had that 8.0 quake and we had that strong, what was it? Was it a 7.2 or a high 7 near Fiji? It was because of one of these sunspots, and now we have 3. So what happened in the last 10 days is these are now becoming Earth-facing. When these things are in the middle of your screen right here, especially along the equator, which is right where, basically, right here. This is the equator of the Earth. So picture the sun lined up with the U.S. I'll go back to the sun. Here's our equator. Look at where the sunspots are. They're right facing where the U.S. would be if the U.S. is facing the sun at the time that these sunspots get to about here. Now, if one of these erupts, it's about 48, maybe 36 hours before we feel that. That would be a CME, coronal mass ejection. Filaments and things of that nature tend to hit a lot quicker, but we've been seeing a pattern here. These things have been exploding, and then either hours later or 2 days later, we get hit with a massive earthquake. And what I wanted to point out and warn you guys of, and I'm going to show you another version of this filter, which is a good one too. All these are good. If you want to look at filaments, which are basically like lava explosions, these things are incredible to watch in real time. You probably won't see one here only because there hasn't been one reported. Right here, okay, you can kind of see them on the right side. This will not necessarily affect Earth because it's turning away from Earth. Again, right here is always Earth facing. This satellite does not move. It moves with Earth, with the sun. So we're always looking at the same spot. You could see some of these Boeing here. Some of these are millions of miles long, guys. Like I always say this, the Earth is the tip of my mouse. That's how big the Earth is compared to the sun in scale. So picture one of these things shooting out, and you got Earth here. That would decimate Earth. That's how strong the sun is. But this is what's concerning to me, and that's why I circled these in the thumbnail. We got 1, 2, and 3. 3 separate sunspots making their way to the center of the sun, which will be Earth-facing. So we're going to have a good 2 to 3 days, maybe even 4, of these things facing us during the daytime. We have not had any CMEs or significant explosions off the sun since the last time we saw these about 10 days ago. It takes about a good 10, 11 days for them to wrap around the back end and then come back this way. A lot of times they tend to disappear during that time, but these are still very much visible. Now, if I go to the other filter, the 2 best filters I use are the A1A193, and this is at sdo.gsfc.nasa.gov, and then you type in data, and you can get right to this site. I'll put it in the description box, but this is the next best one here, and you go on the 48-hour loop. and you really get a good look about the difference in the brightnesses. Now, these are sunspots. These black areas here are coronal holes. That's where we get our CMEs from, and these will explode filaments towards the Earth, which in turn affects our weather, affects our seismic activity, you name it, and we've seen it. We've lined this stuff up before almost to the minute that these explosions off the sun are causing issues on Earth. So, long story short, that's what I wanted to get to you as far as that goes. Now, with that said, we're on to that. We've seen Mike's weather page. Let's check out the intensity chart for development in the Gulf. Now, I want to take a look at the temperatures in the Gulf. 83, 82, 83, 84, 86, 90. Guys, any sort of significant system that enters the Gulf, whether it's from the southern Caribbean, whether that thing is coming from the west coast of Africa and making its way this way, even the temperatures out here are now able to sustain hurricanes. So anything that starts sticking, and we're going to follow this. I'm going to go over all this stuff again and explain to you what I'm talking about, and you kind of get an idea with these charts here. This is a very favorable zone. Here by Haiti and Dominican Republic is highly favorable at the moment. We got a favorable area in between Cancun and Cuba. And then, of course, right now where we're watching with this 91L invest, very favorable. But again, chances are it's not going to turn into a cyclone. My main concern right now, again, which I pointed out the other day, is what's going to happen in the Northeast. Now, let's get to that real quick. And before I do that, I will double check my chat, make sure you guys are all okay. Thank you, Karen G. Much appreciated. Christopher Adams, how are you, buddy? I knew you'd be here. Excuse me. I've been talking a lot today. My voice is very hoarse, talking to a lot of people. Okay, thank you. Much destruction. Okay, now I will be right back. Yes, take your time, True Helper. Anytime you need to bounce out, you go right ahead. You are just a huge help when I'm doing these things. What's up, Drum Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? How are you? Good to see you. Hello, it's just Jack. Good to see you. Solvis, yes, you're always back. Always back. It's beautiful but deadly. Yeah, right? Crazy stuff. All right, so now on with the current situation we're going to be dealing with. So let's get lined up here. We do have some tornadoes that were reported. I'm not sure about touchdowns. Again, it's been a couple days since I've been at my office to check this stuff. But as of 4 hours ago in Minnesota, Texas, New Mexico, we had many storms. We'll start right here, 15 hours ago and up. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible tornado-producing storms that have come and gone and expired. So we are still seeing that action carried over for the last 14, 15, 16 days now. I do not see a confirmed tornado in any of these, so that record may be stopped. I believe the new record now is 14 consecutive days with a confirmed tornado on the ground. Another record broken for another season, another year in a row. This makes 4 years in a row, whether it be a hurricane, a tornado, a winter storm, a flood, a levee breach, a certain part of the Mississippi River flooding. We are breaking records left and right in the United States. And that's not just the U.S. We're talking all over the world, except we don't really get much news from around the world. So, really quick, take a look at the moisture. Once again, it's not just in the Gulf. The Gulf is aiding in this moisture because it's pushing warm air up into central U.S., and that is why you're seeing all this moisture starting to roll towards the east coast of the U.S., which will eventually affect areas like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and then finally how I'm going to end this stream is what's coming up to the northeast, which could affect areas of Long Island, Massachusetts, Nantucket, with a type of a nor'easter situation, and that actually comes from this situation down here. So we're kind of seeing the peak of this situation that's going to end up peaking up here, if you guys are following. So we're going to go to Vent2 Sky right now. This is current time. You could see it is recognizing that moisture down in the Gulf where 91L is at the current time. But as I move this forward, I want you to pay attention to what happens up here by Boston and New York and Massachusetts. This is going to be a pretty high wind event come the 10th, 11th, and 12th. We've been talking about these dates, and again, I'm going to reiterate, I know it's far out and things can change, but in the last 4 days, not much has changed as far as what's going to happen up in the Northeast. And yes, everybody in the Carolinas and in Georgia, I'm going to have a separate video for you guys tomorrow. I'm focusing the rest of this video right here on the Northeast because I want you to see what's going on here. Now you could see that this moisture that we were talking about with 91L, Invest 91L, that is right here. You can still see it is there. It's marked for 0% chance, but it still has plenty of precipitation. Okay, so we're at the 10th now. You could see rotation over Florida. Florida is definitely going to get some of this moisture. We may see some very high wind rates just above Florida. Louisiana, certainly. Mississippi, Alabama. Alabama, you are in the center of this by the 10th. But then by the 11th and then the 12th. Check this out. We are starting to see 60-plus mile-an-hour winds outside in the ocean. In fact, that's not true. Let me change it to 10 meters. All right, we're getting to 50. 50 and 60, yes, there is a significant difference. But as we move from the 12th to the 13th, you could see it's gone. So this is a quick moving, counterclockwise rotating situation that is going to bring moisture from the Bahamas, just like a nor'easter. This is our nor'easter shape. I'm not calling it a nor'easter. I don't know what it's going to be. What I do know is that this moisture is being pulled right across Florida after the Invest had already done its thing here, moving across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle, then across Florida. Now we're in open water. So now it's gaining strength again, and we could see clear-cut rotation, counterclockwise, northern hemisphere, right underneath Long Island, right next to Jersey, part of Chesapeake Bay, and then the next frame, actually I could change it to 11 o'clock and see if that shows us anything different. There, exactly. Okay, perfect. So now we can see this is the last frame we're going to get before we have to go to the 13th. So this thing is going to come up by Boston and those little areas like Nantucket and parts of Massachusetts that stick out into the ocean, wine country, you name it, the End, Montauk, the Hamptons. You need to be on alert for this. It's not going to be some sort of hurricane or anything like that, but when you see these counterclockwise winds spinning at 10 meters off the ground at 50 miles an hour, you can expect beach erosion. You can expect the conditions around the shores to be more severe than more inland, because you could see how this thing kind of rolls off the next day. Once I click the 13th, you see this thing is already gone and up by Nova Scotia somewhere. So this is bulleting way out there. So things are moving quickly, but before we get off this chart, I just want to remind you of this right here. Whenever you see systems coming off of Africa, you can watch them in bulks. You'll see one here, you'll see one here, you'll see one here. It'll begin to dip down, and it's going to meet this line right here. This is basically an invisible equator line. As you could see, flow up this way, and then when it meets here, it meets right in this direction. So you're going to see this line begin to tilt upwards and kind of be more of a straight line like that. And that is when our hurricanes are going to begin to travel this path, get stronger and stronger and stronger. Some of the biggest hurricanes we've seen in the last 5 years have developed during this time, where they travel 2,000 and 3,000 miles, just getting stronger and stronger. As we watched Maria hit Puerto Rico, we all know what these things can do. So I want to make this a point on a daily basis to watch this line, and it's going to start moving up. So you're going to see this line straighten out, and that means that these storms coming off of, I guess you would call this the northwest part of Africa, the coast, they tend to drop down to the Cape Verde Islands. There we go. I remembered that. And then you see them swing this way. And we watched it, guys. We saw this 2 years ago. We had Irma, we had Maria, and we had Katia all at the same time, all rolling this way. We had some come under here. We had one come up this way. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's time. We are here. The water's warm enough. And it's just a matter of time before we see another invest pop up. So I do agree with Norway tracking. I believe June will be one of those months where things are getting themselves in preparation for it. I do see those numbers of 14 named hurricanes, 4 or 5 being significant. I always go above those numbers just based on atmospheric conditions because last year I think was a little bit of a break compared to 2017. And now this year, because of what I saw during the winter, that's the same winter I saw before the 2017 hurricane season. So I'm trying to find a pattern here between certain winters and then the following hurricane season after that. So again, my expectations for 2018, we're going to see some strong storms. We're going to get some scares. But again, it's not something that you want to panic over until we're getting close to home. But that's why this channel's here, so we can keep you guys posted on that stuff. Now, I hope I covered what I wanted to. This was the last chart I wanted to show you, just to verify what Ventus Sky is showing on the 11th here. I bring you back to, actually the 12th, I'm sorry. So the 12th is when you start seeing the rotation by Chesapeake Bay all the way up to Massachusetts, Connecticut, the Long Island Sound, Long Island itself, and then we move up this way. And then when you compare it to Thursday, June 13th, you could see a similar pattern here. The barometric pressure dropping down to 995. That's fairly low. That's going to pack a punch here. So the coastal areas, come the next 7 or 8 days, need to be on alert. A lot could happen in between then. But as of right now, that's the warning I need to put out to you guys as far as the weather goes in the Northeast. So the Michigan thing I will get into tomorrow. And like I said, I got to cut this one short, guys, unfortunately. But I had to get on here and talk to you about this stuff. So in conclusion, Invest 91L is still there. Even though it says 0%, it's still on this chart. Maybe if I refresh this, it won't even be there. Nope, it's still there. So 91 is still being recognized. It's still being shown. The low pressure is right at the border of Mexico. And once this thing touches land, it's going to drop dramatically. And here are some of the spaghetti plots they're expecting. A couple still keeping it in the Gulf. Very hard to tell. But then I saw another one down here I want to show you guys real quick. Now, they show some of these sometimes where the spaghetti plots will, this is where the main area will be, and then they'll show where they think the low pressure system or the central area will eventually make its way. It doesn't mean it's going to bring those harsh winds and all this. It just means that it might bring some significant rain. The different colors mean different things. You can match them up right to here as far as the pressure goes. But you could see they're not in cahoots about where this thing is going to go once we get to Louisiana. Now, it could be pressed up right towards the Great Lakes through Iowa, Illinois, and then right into the Great Lakes here. Or it could take a complete eastern turn across Mississippi, Alabama, and then Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, then right out to the Outer Banks where we could see the beginning of that spin. And that's what I was just showing you guys, is that this system, chances are it's going to come out this way rather than go up. It's all depending on the jet stream, but as of right now, the jet stream is showing me that it's going to push this moisture out to the southeast states. As we showed, Florida was getting hit with some heavy rain, and it's going to come up to the northeast and then start doing that little spin that we always call that 9, that nor'easter spin. So I think I covered everything. I hope I wasn't too jumpy around. I hope I got the information out to you guys as quick as I could with not too many questions. Oh, there she is. Hello, love. Good to see you there. Carol, you are Team Caroline and Brian. Yes, forever. Carol Worth, you are Team Caroline and Brian forever. There's no doubt about that. The day I made this channel, just over 2 years ago, Carol Worth was on the channel. That day. No subs, no nothing. Carol was there. Many of you were there, and I hate to point out specific people. You know, I try to say hi to everyone. I knew it. Ha ha ha. Laugh all you want. All right, let's see. Let's answer a serious question here. JB Barlett. Hey, Brian, could you explain what is the cause of the imaginary line that divides the rotation change of the low pressure and high systems in both hemispheres? Well, basically, it's the equator. Now, I could pull up Google Earth. Well, we don't even need Google Earth. All we need is this right here. What you're seeing, in fact, let's just go to a normal looking chart where we can just look at stuff. So yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say here is when you get storms such as hurricanes or typhoons or cyclones, they are all the same thing. It just depends on where in the world they happen. And the equator determines which way they spin. So you see how these lines are moving up and then these lines are moving down and they're meeting almost like in a highway. It's like this is where the equator is. So anything below this line, you're going to see the storm spinning clockwise. That's how it works. Anything above this line, as far as hurricane season, the Pacific hurricane season, the West Coast cyclone season, all these storms counterclockwise. When you get down into this area where you get New Zealand, notice how these are spinning clockwise. It's apparently because of the spin of the Earth. Again, I know there's a lot of talk about the Earth spinning. If it does spin, I'm not getting into that right now. That's not why I'm here. But the point being, to answer your question, if I zoom in a little quicker here, is there is a distinct line, and you can match it to the equator, and it's just based on the spin of the Earth. Naturally, storms, without the pressures around them, they want to shoot right to the north. If there was nothing stopping a hurricane from moving to the east and coming towards the U.S., or this high-pressure bubble, which we call the Bermuda Atlantic bubble, the high-pressure bubble that usually forms very rapidly during this time of the season, rarely do you see a hurricane move through the middle because that bubble forces it around it. So this is the equator line. Anything below it, you're going to see spinning counterclockwise. Anything above it, counterclockwise. That's why in New York right now, or on the 12th at least, this is going to be a counterclockwise spinning storm. You will never see a storm spinning this way up in this area. It's just all based on the Earth, the way it works, the way it spins, the way it moves through space. If it moves through space, who knows? I don't know. Send me a rocket. Let me go up there. Let me look, and I'll let you guys know. That's all I can say about that. So I hope I answered your question. I hope I answered it. Is it going to be a hurricane? What are you speaking of, Xavier? Are you talking about the northeast thing up here by New York? Because if you're talking about that, then no, that is not going to be a hurricane, in my opinion. Then again, I am not predicting this stuff. This, we were worried about being a possible hurricane or an invest or something along those lines. Me and Norway Tracking were trying to work this out. We were kind of going back and forth, like yes, no. It's very hard, guys. Like, you don't understand. It's okay. JB Burnett, I'm glad I answered your question. That's awesome. That's right. That's what I like here, that we can get this stuff answered and people can understand it. And if you need to repeat questions, please do it. Like, don't think that I answered it. And if you don't get it, ask again. I have no problem explaining this stuff again. So back to Norway Tracking and I, which you're going to see a lot of him. He's a character, so, you know, let him do his thing. He knows not to get out of the line. Him and I have our talks, but he's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a lot of good charts he's made. But him and I have been going back and forth about what the hell is going to happen. Ooh, I cursed. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I don't like cursing on the channel. But anyway, so we'll go back to the 4th, and we'll go through this one more time, and then I'm going to have to cut this. But they're not showing much. Actually, let me get to wind speed here. They're not showing much except for the precipitation as of right now with what's going on in the south, in this part of the Gulf. Okay, this is in the Caribbean. The Caribbean's down here. this is what the area that we've been watching. Again, here's the X. It's now down to 0. But when you go to this chart here, it can be very confusing because the X is showing 0%. But then you go to a chart like this and you see these deep dark colors with these massive storms, and you're like, why? How could it be nothing when it's something? It's because it's pulling away from the coast, and now it's lightening up, and it's kind of like just a rain system being flown up by the Gulf moisture or the Gulf air. And it's going to be more, you'll get some severe storms in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, but it's not going to be that scary counterclockwise spinning, potential tropical cyclone deal that we're going to be dealing with, at least for this one. Now, again, a day or two from now, we may see another one pop up. This is what happens this time of year, especially along the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is going to start spitting out invest left and right, and then we're going to start seeing them in the Gulf for the Atlantic, and then we're really going to start seeing those hurricanes coming in from the west coast of Africa, and those are the ones we need to watch and that we can follow for 4 and 5 days and really get good info. That's when they fly the planes inside there. We get our readings every 8 hours, and we can relay it to you guys, and then hopefully get people in the right spots and in the right mindset to then make their decisions whether or not they need to buy supplies or, move their families. Mandatory evacuations are always something you should listen to. We've seen way too many times people get caught off guard and they're just left stuck with nothing, walking through puddles with bags and their stuff on their shoulders. I can't stand seeing it anymore. It's making me crazy. So, with that said, I'm going to try even harder. We're going to dig even more deep into this stuff and find out how strong these are going to be, when they're coming, what to expect, and even if I have to exaggerate a little bit and tell people just leave the area for a little bit, that's what I'm going to do. So things are going to change a little bit around here, but not to the point where we're going to start going nuts. We don't want to scare people. We want to help people. That's all I want to be done here. That's the main point. So, I have many videos on my channel about how I saw. Please check them out. All right, I'll let you show that comment. You can go check out his videos if you want, guys. Anyone else want a channel link posted? Let's get okay, True Helper, yes. I like getting Chris's out there. He's been helping me a lot. He deserves it. And yes, his photography is incredible. The heads, not the tails. I'll take one. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's going to want to take one. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get to everyone eventually. I'm a people person. And so is Caroline. We love talking with you guys. That's the main part of this. We love this stuff. Oh, no, I missed it. M22, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so sorry I missed that. I got to find a new way to get this chat that I can have open constantly so I could see what's going on. That's why the moderators are there. But round of applause for our friend EM22. Thank you so much. You did not have to do that, but it means the world to Caroline and I. You know this. Thank you so much. And if I can get this thing to go back to the bottom, we'll be good to go. All right, there we go. Thanks, Brian. You're badass too, man. Christopher, you're badass too. We all are. We're all badasses here. And that's why we're doing what we do. No problem. Your lovely lady at True Helper thanked me. Yes, they are great people. Especially my lovely lady. She's the rock. And I'm just surprised that she's handling this so well. I just feel so bad. That was her home for 3 years. 3 years. And it's gone. Ugh. Thanks, Brian. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, y'all's. LOL. Yep. Big crazy storms all over, April. They're everywhere. All right, but I hate to do this, guys. We're going to cut this one short. Oh, we're just under an hour. Unbelievable. We got 83 watching. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much. We'll check out the lightning chart real quick, and we can see how the U.S. is getting lit up. We got a nice straight line right through Mexico. That's going to make its way across Texas. Look at this mess up here in Minnesota, Iowa, And then here comes Michigan, mass destruction. This is what you were talking about, buddy. This is coming right to you. We got Missouri's belly button filled with lightning. We're going to be moving into Illinois. And then we're going to get Ohio in there. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is Michigan. So it will make its way to Michigan, my friend. Mass destruction. We could already see the lightning starting to blow up over Louisiana due to that invest that is now rolling up in that direction. We always got lightning going on in Mexico. They're just lightning freaks over there. Doesn't stop. But you can see, guys, we got a front coming, and we have the jet stream to blame for it. So the jet stream is going to determine whether or not we're going to see this counterclockwise rotation that could possibly produce a significant amount of wind and rain and a beach erosion just as these areas are getting ready for summertime. Like, you got to understand, places like near Nantucket and Massachusetts and parts of Connecticut and Long Island and the Jersey Shore areas, this is their money-making time. This is the 3 months where they make all their money to support their families and support their businesses. And now, excuse me, now we have this weather coming up here that's going to potentially rip this all apart. It just sucks. You know, it's not, you don't want to see this happen to people, and it's unfortunate. I've been in the middle of it. I was in Hurricane Irene in Montauk, and I was a little younger then, so I wasn't making the smartest decisions. So yes, of course, I walked right out to the ocean, 75-foot cliff with me and a friend of mine hanging on to, please do not cross this line poles, while Hurricane Irene is smashing 30-foot waves into a cliff wall and spraying us 30 feet up in the air, and we loved it. We were laughing and this and that, not knowing that at any minute, had I let go of that pole, I would not be here today. So we live and we learn, and I'm happy I learned. So, all right, guys, again, I'm going to say this again one more time. We got to watch out for this coming up around the 11th, 12th, and 13th, moving up. We're going to get some more detail in between those dates. Tomorrow, I'm going to focus more on this part of the U.S. because in order for this to get here, it has to pass here first. So I did skip from right here to here fairly quickly, but I'm not leaving you guys out. You guys will be tomorrow. I will go over all the areas down here. So we are done with this chart. We are certainly done looking at our earthquakes. Like I said, strongest one, 6.3 today. Very strong quake for Japan. We looked at Ventusky. We saw what was going to happen up here due to this situation here, which is going to affect Florida and all the East Coast states in turn before it gets here. Like I said, that video will be tomorrow. We can get rid of that. And you can just see it on this chart, guys. This is all moisture. This is all moving west to east. So we are going to see the Mississippi River with more water in it, possibly more levee breaches. This is just not stuff we want to see this early in the season. Hey, do you think it's going to hit Dallas or New Orleans? Well, when you talk about is it going to hit, as far as the invest goes, I don't think there's any sort of invest that's going to hit. It's basically breaking up into a bunch of cell systems. So yes and no. It will indeed affect parts of Dallas. And what else did you say up here? Do you think it's going to hit Dallas or Dallas? Didn't you say something else up here? Or New Orleans? Yes, definitely New Orleans. New Orleans is getting hit right now as we speak. New Orleans has storm cells over it as we speak. So throughout the night, you will definitely see rain in New Orleans. And then eventually it's going to move into Mississippi, Alabama, and then the Panhandle. Like I said, I skipped a little bit of time here. I kind of went from this system being here to up here just to cover ground and to let you know that, you know, it does have to pass this area to get there. So yes, Louisiana, you will see some significant rainfall. I'm not sure how much, but I don't see it being any more severe than your typical cell storms. They come and go in 20 minutes. They can pack high winds. It's just the time of year that we're living in. This is what's going to happen. So make sure everything is changed. Yeah, very true. He didn't have me back then. Sorry about the fire and your loss. I was in a fire in October and lost everything. Oh man, you see, that's funny because it was October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. October is when we left. So we left that place right when your fire happened, Richard, which is very interesting. My science teacher lived in South Florida and went outside during, I think, Vince and Wilma because he was in the eye. Yeah, sometimes when you get those bigger hurricanes and the eye wall passes right over you, it's like you see blue sky, birds come out. It's like a normal day, and then all of a sudden the other end comes through and you're back in hell. It's like, oof, it's rough. Oh, that's horrible. True Hope at EM22. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Same here in '94. Yeah, see, everyone's got their stories. Like this is not just a once in a while thing. Like people go through devastating things in life, and it's all due to weather. That's why weather is the most important thing that we have. We have to base our lives around it. We have no choice. It's just the way it works. And I think we're done with Radar Scope. Radar Scope has been great to me. They're always reaching out, always asking how things are going with the channel. I really appreciate these people. These are very respectable people. And if any of you have the funds and you want to spend the money and you are a weather buff, I highly recommend this app, Radar Scope app. You could get it in your app store. It's a safe app. You don't have to go around any sort of like, is this a safe app or not? It's right there for you to download and purchase, and you own it forever. It's a one-time purchase unless you want to add different levels to it. That's when you get into the spending of money. But that'll be my job. I'll do that for you. This way you guys can see that here, and then we'll move on from there. But here we go. Once again, here's our sun. We got our sunspots moving back in. So I'm giving a 7 to 10 day earthquake watch, especially for any place earth facing while these are in the middle. We still have about a day and a half before you're going to see these 3 sunspots dead center here. And if anything happens at that time, you can expect we're going to see some seismic activity on this planet, whether it's in the west coast of the Pacific, whether it's near Peru or Chile where the big quakes have been happening. But this is not good that these things survived another trip around the sun. A lot of times these things die out. They become black holes or the dark holes, the coronal holes. And those are the ones that shoot out the CMEs and things of that nature. So we need to keep an eye on these, which we will do, absolutely. And then finally, I want to show you this chart. This is another version, another satellite out there where you can get some detail. I've explained this before. An arm sticks out and physically holds a disc in front of the sun so we could see the stars. You see the stars moving back there? These are stars. And these little flickers of static are just picking up different static. You see these lines shooting across. These are little meteors. Sometimes you can catch some big ones. You catch some crazy shapes going on. It's unbelievable what you can see in some of these pictures. Like, for example, let me hit pause real quick. I'll just show you one real quick, and then we'll cut this right there. Okay, so here's a perfect example. This is a meteor right here. So you see it on this screen, and then you see the second frame on this screen. These are meteors shooting right towards the sun. And once in a while, you'll get a comet, and you'll watch this thing with a tail, and it like kind of hooks down and travels towards the sun. And if it survives going around the sun, you see it come back out the other end. It's an incredible sight. That's why these web pages are amazing to have. They're great tools. In fact, that may have been a little bit of a sun flare right there. Look at that little explosion that comes out right there. They kind of box off the, that was definitely one right there. That definitely put something off. But again, that shot to the side. That shot to the west considerably. This shot to the east. What we are worried about is what comes from the middle of the Earth towards us. So again, these satellites are in between Earth and the sun. So whatever you see come towards us is coming towards Earth. If you see something shoot out this way, it's going that way, not towards Earth. So we can get rid of this one now. We're back on here. And we're going to close this out, guys, because I think I got through everything I wanted to, at least for today, for a quick live stream. Had to touch base with you guys. Very important. Double check real quick the tornadoes. Everything's expired with tornadoes. If anything pops up in the meantime after I head home, I will be back on to let you know about it. But right now, we're watching this system. We're going to see what it does along Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and then how that's going to turn out up in the Northeast. But tomorrow, I will get into the Southeast states and what they could experience before that happens. So, all right, guys, with that said, I think we've covered about everything, probably except 1,000 questions that I missed in the chat. So, I'll give you one more look here. Dual crash tracking. What did you do there, huh? What did you say that they didn't like? Wow, amazing. Thank you. April, thank you. I hope I'm not stumbling and making no sense here. I'm trying to get out as much information as possible in a short period of time because you know me. I can be on this thing for 5 hours and nobody wants to watch a 5-hour live stream. Nobody. Who knew they even had lightning chart? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they got lightning charts. They got all sorts of lightning charts. Yes, I am on Patreon. It is in the links in every single video we post. You just scroll down into the info box, Ecstasy66, and you will see the link there. There's a PayPal link there, all sorts of stuff like that. But I don't really talk about it much. I leave it there for you guys to see. If you decide, you decide. But yes, the links are there under every single video. Night, Norway tracking. Good night, my friend. I will talk to you soon. Chris, I will talk to you tomorrow or the next time you send me an earthquake. Anyone know of a good place for a cabin and tired of the city life? Oh boy, cabins. Adirondacks. It's going to get cold, but it's a good spot. All right, everybody good? Caroline, are we good? Anything I need to answer that I missed? Good night, EM22. Thank you for being here. Crystal Butler, good night. You have a great night. True Helper, my bud, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are wonderful. Good night, Carol. Thank you for being here as always. Mass Destruction, thank you for being here as always. White Mountains, great spot for cabin. There you go, Richard. Richard just answered your question for you. Who asked that question up here? Who answered it? Ecstasy66 answered it. So, Ecstasy66, Richard here answered your question for you. He gave you a good spot if you want to move. X-King Ziggy, good night to you, my friend. God bless you, Carol. You are an angel among humans. I am convinced. You are an angel among human beings. Ah, we broke the hour. I knew it. Oh well, what are you going to do? But with that said, we can just do this. Click away, click away, click away, click away. No tornadoes. Lots of moisture. Click away. All right, guys. So, I think we're done. Are we done? Are we going to look at this for a little bit? No? I think we should go. Greg, come on, man. Thank you so much. You got that in there just in the nick of time. I will not forget this, Greg. In fact, show up here tomorrow, and I will personally thank you 5 times. How does that sound? And no, that doesn't mean you have to donate again. It means what you did right here is good enough, and you deserve thank you, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Awesome, Greg. I'll be here earlier than 9 o'clock, though, so it's going to be an earlier live stream. I'm going to get you guys at least an hour notice so you can get set up. Get in here when you can. I know I kind of throw these things out there on you guys very quickly, and it's hard to, get people in the room. But whatever, as long as the video's out there afterwards, that's all that matters. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. All right, Norway tracking. I will see you tomorrow. Ecstasy666, thank you again. Jeez Louise, you guys are incredible people. All right, well, now I have to end this live stream because you guys are making me feel guilty now. But I appreciate every single one of you. Caroline and I, we're always going to be here for you guys to get this info out. That's the bottom line. That's what we're doing. So, XC666, thank you. Everyone who donated tonight, thank you. Everyone who asked a question, everyone who entered this room, thank you so much. Can't thank you enough. And I'm going to stop saying that because I go on a 10-minute rant of just saying thank you. So, good night to everybody. Thank you, Caroline, true helper. You are a lifesaver. And we're going to get this rolling to the point where there's no stopping us. And that's what we want to do. Mass destruction, don't even worry about it, man. Take care of yourself. If the time comes, it comes. If not, I'll donate to you. How does that sound? And that's it. I'm ending this, guys. We're done here. I'm feeling too love right now. Too much love going on right now. Let's see what we got. You got this up. We're done with this. We're done with this. We got radar scope up. We're good with radar scope. And we're back to here. All right, guys. Here is my final good night. Good night, true helper. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Good night, Greg. I'll see you tomorrow. X-King, I'll see you tomorrow. EM22, hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. XC2066, Mass Destruction, all you guys. Wonderful. Thank you so much for the awesome stream. Good night into family. Well put, MOT. And Chris, good night to you as well. If I miss any of you, you know I'll get you next time. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening, and we will talk very, very soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.